So this is replacing the charger port on an iPad 4. We're just heating up the edge here to get the screen off. These ones are a bit difficult to get off sometimes. More difficult when nicked. Luckily this one's not cracked, so we'll try and keep it that way. Also, we're in the kitchen tonight. That's why this looks like this. So I'm just working these picks in along the edge here, very gently, because we don't want to break anything. Got the camera here. Need to make sure not to run it across the top of the camera, otherwise you might break it. The iFixit eye opener, very good tool, and it's very good for heating up. If you use a heat gun, you can sometimes make heat spots on these, so it's best not to mess with that. Just heating up the bottom here. Down the bottom we've got two Wi-Fi antennas, one on either side of the home button. We need to be careful of them, don't want to be severing them. So the way this opens, just so you know if you're doing one yourself, this side doesn't have anything on it, it's just got adhesive. Down the bottom you've got the Wi-Fi antennas, and along this side down here you've got the connectors for the digitizer. Now usually the screen's broken and we're replacing it, so it doesn't really matter too much about that, but if the screen's working you want to try and keep it that way. Just move that up there. I'm just going round just the tip in here past this little section, because that's where the Wi-Fi antenna is, and then we can push it in and go back over the Wi-Fi antenna. Now if you feel anything like feeling a bit tough there, you might be underneath the Wi-Fi antenna and you want to avoid that. So now I'm just helping this up here. I'll have a wee look, see what I can see. See if we've separated from the antenna. I think so. So I'm just carefully going by here. I mean, once you've broken one Wi-Fi antenna, you learn quickly. Don't do it again. It says, with confidence, unfounded confidence, really, because we don't know what state this is in underneath right now. Hopefully we've not got a busted up Wi-Fi antenna. No, that one's fine. I always get confused whether or not there's one or two Wi-Fi antennas on this. I'm just going to stick something in here just now just to keep that up while we concentrate on the top. Right, so that should be nice and warmed up there. So I think the top is pretty much released, maybe a bit more just around this camera. There we go. Take that out. And we can see in there now. You can see these bits of adhesive there. They mislead you quite a bit because it makes you think that it's still, you can think there's like a cable there or something, but it's not, because they pull quite strongly on it. So you need to try and release this without snapping the display, not the display, the digitizer. So just undo that. can see what's going on in here with these antennas. Usually, if once you've got it off a bit, you can just sort of separate it, and then because it's just adhesive, it should allow itself to be easily taken off. I'm just a bit unsure of whether there's an antenna here. I always forget what models have an antenna here, so I'm just super careful with everything really. I don't think there is an antenna here. Nah, there's not. That was a worry for nothing. But better safe than sorry. And then at this point you can just hold it and you'll hear the glue separating, the adhesive separating. No, don't push it though, because you'll snap it. It's very easy to snap. So you just want to hold it up. I don't know if you can hear that on there, but you'll start to hear the glue just chipping, not chipping, but just going like Velcro coming off. You might think that you're going to be super careful and not get any fingerprints on here or here if you're doing a job like this, but it's best just to forget about that. You're going to get fingerprints on it because it's very difficult to do without getting fingerprints on. So I'm happy to leave that like that. It might fall down. I'll just put this underneath it to stop it falling. Because we're not replacing the digitizer in this one. We're replacing the home screen, because you can see this side of it is all dark. Yeah, that doesn't work if you do it there. See all that side of it's all dark, like it seems to me like it's maybe been left on a radiator or something and the heat's caused that damage. So that wasn't why I got it. I got it to replace this, but you know, if we're going to replace that, we might as well replace the screen at the same time. It'll save some money on labour in the long run. This is the worst surface for putting screws down because they just disappear. They just disappear into the pattern. And this house is very warm tonight. Right, so now I'm going to switch it off. There we go. And this just lifts up. This comes out the other way, so it lifts up that way. The screen goes that way, this goes that way. And then unscrew the battery. Put that screw up there. Don't forget to put it back in. Always deal with the battery first. We just want to put something under there to stop the contacts from contacting, so that it doesn't have any battery charge in it. I think this might have been replaced before as well. Everything's been replaced before by the looks of things. That was some quite strong adhesive for something that had been done before. So there's just a little clip here at the back, in between the battery connector and the LCD connector here, which needs to come off. That's that done. Put that over there. So that's one thing. Now we need to get this boy out. Let's just zoom you in a bit. There we go. Wonderful iPhone 7 Plus with zoomable functionality. So we're just going to take this out, the old charger port. So it was working. It worked some ways. Like if you put the charger in one way it worked, but if you put the charger in the other way it didn't work. So we just unplug that and then unscrew these screws here. We need to take this plastic spacer, it's just stuck in, so it just comes out, it's just stuck on the bottom there. We'll try and remember to put that back in. and then peel this up. 2 more screws in here which need to come out. I'm just going to put these here. There we go, that's that out, and then the new one just goes back in the same place. Take this sticker off the back, it's got this like anti-static type tape on the back, which will be wonderful if you contact it with the back of the with the case of the iPad for grounding and such like. Put that back in, put the tape back on, and then get these screws back in. Now these screws are the ones that went in here. Try and do this without shaking. Christ. Need to make sure these screws go back in. Okay, I think we're running out of time on this iPhone now. Just had to delete Super Mario Run to make some space. So put these screws in that were in there, and then we're just going to put these screws in the bracket here just to hold that down. And then we'll get the new screen. Right, we'll zoom you back out. There we go. And then plug the LCD back in where it goes. And then we're good to, we'll just push that back down. Pull that out so that the battery's active again. And then just make sure I put this screw back in the battery. Strange things happen if you don't put the screw back in. Right, now, test. Make sure the screen's not smashed. Good. Excellent. We'll just put something in here, put that wee bit in there to stop that sealing. And that's not fixed that issue. That's a brand new screen and it's still got that problem. So that suggests that that's nothing to do with the LCD, which isn't ideal because we've just spent ages replacing that. In fact, while we're at it, we'll just check that we'll just check now that the charger port replacement has worked. So plug them in, charge in, and the other way. Good, that's fine. Good job. Okay, so now we're ready to put this back together. The reason that backlight is not working properly is because there's a failed component on the board, so it needs a board repair. So that's going to have to be discussed and see if he wants to go ahead with that. I'll not put this screen back in, actually. I'll put the original one back in because this is not necessary. So there you go. If your iPad's got a half the screen dim, probably doesn't need a new screen. It probably needs a little like fuse or resistor on the back of the logic board, which will need replaced. But we're not doing that tonight. We may do it. It depends if he wants to do it or not. So we'll wait and see. So we'll just put this one back together now. We've got everything back in there. There's no dodgy screws lying around. And we'll get this back to the man. I'm not surprised, to be honest. There's all sorts of glass and stuff in there from when it was replaced before, so there's a fair chance that that's done some damage. I mean, you have to be quite meticulous with getting the glass out of them. Sometimes people will come back and say, well, there's a bit of dust in there. That's fine, a bit of dust isn't going to do anything, and that happens because, you know, I'm not working in a clean room, I'm working in my house, so that happens sometimes. But if you're leaving a bit of glass in there, or, you know, if you're leaving a bit of glass in there, what else are you leaving in there that could be causing that? Right, so that's the new adhesive on there. This adhesive's still good here, we're not going to take that off. And that's that. We'll just close it up. The charger is working. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.